beauties, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Ashley. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and join the beauty family. So today's glam, honey, we are giving you springtime, but with MAC. So I'm going to try to use as much MAC products as I have to just give you all a nice springtime glam. So if you'd like to see how I achieve this glam start to finish, keep watching. Alrighty, beauties, so let's get started on this all MAC everything. So I already filled in my brows off camera just because, you know, I'm in between. I need to get them done. So sometimes it takes a little bit more time than... Who was texting me this early? Sometimes it takes me a little bit more time to get them together versus if they were already done. So I did fill them in with MAC's Spiked Brow Pencil, and I also filled in with Espresso Eyeshadow just to set that brow pencil. So now we're gonna clean it up. I'm going to go in with MAC's Pro Longwear Concealer in NW40. Just gonna pump a little bit on the back of my hand, like so, and then we're gonna use that to chisel and carve out these brows. I'm gonna start in the front. I'm gonna use what's left over on my hand just to blend out the rest of that concealer on my lid. Alrighty, so that concealer provides an even base for my lids. I do have a little bit of hyperpigmentation on my eyelids. I really just think that's from allergies because, honey, when that pollen gets you and you start rubbing your eyes, it feels like glory, okay? Yes. So now let's get into this eyeshadow look, beauties. We're gonna dive into some of the new MAC makeup that I picked up. Okay, so for my crease, I'm going to go into my OG palette, Don't Judge Me. This has been through some things. It's fallen. So I'm just going to go into Brown Script and probably a little bit of Swiss Chocolate to put in my crease. So I'm going in with neutral colors first, but honey, we're gonna dive into this Dazzle Shadow. So if you have not seen my recent haul with some of the new makeup that I picked up one of the new MAC Dazzle Shadows. This is in I Like to Watch. Absolutely stunning. I live for eyeshadow with reflex. So we're going to go into that shadow since it is spring, honey. Spring is among us. So let me blend out these colors in my crease. So I'm going to start with Brown Script in my crease first. So that's just like a beautiful reddish brown shadow. I don't think they sell this anymore. So I'm really holding on to it like grim death because they have gotten rid of everything. Like, it's to the point where I feel like I need to speak to the manager because why are you guys getting rid of everything? It is so frustrating. But yes, there are some products that I am missing. By the way, they snatched the bronzer off the shelf because I believe it was recalled or something. So I wasn't able to get it. I was actually waiting to get it to do this tutorial, but I don't know when it's coming back out, so the show must go on. So I started working for MAC in 2015. I left Ulta. That's just like a story for another day. My manager wasn't giving me hours, and to be quite honest, I don't really think she liked me. But that's fine. That's a her problem, because if you don't like me, I think that's a you problem, because everybody loves me. So yeah, I ended up leaving, and now I'm just gonna go into Swiss Chocolate right on top of Brown Script. I got the job at MAC, so I had an interview. So it was a group interview. I am just not a fan of group interviews, hate them. So my group interview was out east. Oh my gosh, that was a weekend. My car broke down, so I like stayed at my uncle's house, he wasn't far from where I needed to go to the interview. So I stayed at his house. I brought like my whole outfit, my makeup stash, everything. I think my cousin came with me for the interview, so we had to do a makeup demo. So she came with me, and they ended up switching everybody at the last minute. So I guess they just really want to know if you know how to slay, honey, but baby, I'm always prepared. I could do any and everybody. He switched us, and I did a beautiful look on this girl. I think I remember some of the colors that I used on her, but I remember I used Viva Glam 2 lipstick on her. So they have this thing where they pick artists to be permanent or freelance. So I ended up getting picked to be freelance. So I freelanced at a few counters. So I'm gonna go ahead and start prepping my base with the MAC Skin Refined Zone. So this is gonna be like pore filling and smoothing, so I'm just gonna start with that. So yeah, I ended up being picked to be a freelance artist, which I actually enjoyed versus being permanent, because there's a lot in terms of being permanent. You have to have certain numbers. If you don't have good numbers, you get written up, and then honey, you get the boots. So that's a lot. So essentially being freelance, you don't really have a lot of perks. There were no employee discounts. You did not get any gratis, which I kind of feel like sucked. because essentially as a freelancer, we're there to help you make your day. I feel like they should have revamped the whole freelancing portion of being a MAC artist, but I did enjoy my time. So my first day at MAC. My first day at MAC, I was working at the Valley Stream location, Green Acres Mall, and if you know Green Acres Mall, you know Green Acres Mall, okay? So I remember this lady came up to me and asked me the difference between a cream contour and a powder contour. So I remember my coworker at the counter at the time, she was a permanent artist, and she kind of like showed me the ropes that day. I think she was like standing next to me at that time when the customer asked me that question. So she was just like, oh, you know, we're not allowed to say anything about like any of the products. We work at MAC. So she was just like, oh, you know, I'm not asking about like which one to buy. She was just like, I just want to know what the difference between powder and cream is. So I explained it to her. Do you know the girl that they paired me with at the counter went back and told the manager, and then I got pulled into the office my first day. I don't think you get brownie points for snitching on anyone. I'm very sorry. They don't give you extra money in your paycheck. You're not getting extra hours. And it wasn't that serious. I was just like, that was very childish. You told the manager that I explained to her the difference between a powder and a cream. I felt like it was wrong to like dismiss the client. So I was just like, I just decided to answer the question, because regardless, it's just helping the client. So that was just my main focus. I wasn't trying to put the business in another brand's hands. I was just explaining to her the difference. And then I also reverted it back to MAC products. But old girl went and reported me, honey. I'm gonna go in with one of my flat brushes and dive into this Dazzle Shadow I like to watch. And I'm gonna pop this right on the lid. Oh my gosh, look at how stunning this looks. This is so pretty. This is so pretty. So yeah, she went and reported me. So the manager came over and she's like, oh well, if somebody asks you about products that aren't MAC, you just have to tell them that you don't work for Macy's, you only work for MAC. And I was just like, okay. And left it at that. But boy, I tell you, it's just, that whole interaction was completely unnecessary. So unnecessary. I remember when I worked there, you weren't able to wear like the same makeup 2 days in a row. Your hair had to be different. They were so strict. Nail polish, everything. You had to wear like 3 different lip products. So a liner, lipstick, and a gloss from MAC. Everything that you wore had to be MAC. So if you did wear nail polish that wasn't MAC, then you would have to essentially sell it as if it were the MAC nail polish that you were wearing. So yeah, it was a little strict, I would say, during those times. So now that I added that on my lid, I think I'm going to go in with a little Embark just to smoke out the outer V. So I did meet one of my girls that I am still cool with today at Valley Stream. She doesn't live here anymore though, but we still keep in touch. But at least I made one friend there. See, I heard the day before I got there was a fight in the line between 2 customers. The drama. I think my favorite store to work at was in Manhattan because I feel like you got to see everyone from everywhere. I'm just blending out the edges of Embark so that it looks seamless. I'm gonna go back in with that Dazzle Shadow, and I'm just gonna spritz a little bit of my Max Fix Plus setting spray just to make the color pop a little bit more. So let's see if the shadow picks up and has more of a glittery effect. This is an old school trick. And then we also used to do this with the Mac Fix Plus, the regular one also. It just adds a little bit more. This shadow, I would say, has a little bit more fallout than usual. I think it's because of the glitter in it. So if you do pick up the shadow, don't be alarmed. That's just the glitter that's in this shadow, but it is still absolutely gorgeous. I am just blending out the edges of I like to watch. So now I'm just gonna pop on some lashes. Alrighty, so I just popped on some lashes. I did not pick up MAC lashes because I'm not really a fan of MAC lashes, but I just popped on my lashes in the date night pack from Magnificent Minx. So all the info will be down below. But yes, beauty, so let's dive into this complexion. I'm going into Max Pro Longwear in the shade NC50. Now, I remember back when they were shade matching all the girls, honey, all the girls. And I let one of them shade match me. She gave me NW47. That was not my shade. So I was rocking out being red for a few years, and I always wondered, like, why does it look like this? But like, whatever. And it wasn't until I got NC50, which is my perfect shade. That's why sometimes it's so helpful to have a shade match sister, because I was just so confused. So Jackie Ina is my shade match sister. So I remember when I was watching a tutorial of hers and she had NC50, I was like, Okay, so I'm in C50, and honey, the rest was history. So I already primed. I'm just going in with the Pro Longwear foundation now, but it was a little bit of a journey at MAC. I don't regret not being a permanent artist. I enjoyed being freelance because I got to work at a few counters. A lot of them invited me back because they loved me and they loved my work, which to me, that's like really all I could have asked for. So I enjoyed my stint at MAC, adding a little bit extra. I really thought that this was going to be a bigger foundation tube, but then again, how much bigger did I think it was going to be? A lot of the products changed, the rules have changed, and I think that's just across the board. Even the bags that I get the makeup in now, like they're just so flimsy and cheap. I feel like I need to go back in my stash to see if I have like an older bag. It's like so heartbreaking that since the pandemic, like everything, not that it wasn't going to change, but man, like there has been some serious changes. You know what, I will say the most important thing is I'm grateful for life and getting through the pandemic. So now we're going to go in with concealer. I'm going with the Pro Longwear Concealer in NW40. So we're going to apply this under the under eye. So I'm just going to go in with my sponge and apply it. This is definitely an OG concealer. I do want to pick up another shade. I want to get NW35 just for a little bit of brightness, because I find when you blend this down, it just gives you a little bit of a highlight, which I like though. I do like it to be subtle, but every now and then I want it to be a little bright. So I think I might pick up the NW35 just so we can have just a pinch, a touch of brightness. But it blends out flawlessly. I love the Pro Longwear line because it is really prolonged long wear, okay? So that's the one thing I will say. They said that they're dropping something in Pro Longwear, it is going to be on for a while, okay? Dries down quickly and the creasing very minimal. So before I feel like it's really drying down, I just go back in and blend it out so that I could just really get into the nooks and crannies. So I didn't get any cream concealer from them for a contour shade, so I'm just gonna go in with what I have. My Makeup by Mario contour stick, which is my holy grail. I'm just gonna go in and blend this out. The foundation definitely has already dried down, so you do have to work with these products very quickly. So everything is literally set. Everything is dried. So I'm just going right back and blending under my under eye. And I'm just going to add some setting powder. I do believe I had the Prep and Prime setting powder in the past. I wasn't really a fan. So I'm just going to go into one of the powders that I have. The Dominique Cosmetics, the translucent powder. This powder, Dominique girl. That's all I have to say. I'm gonna fit as much MAC as I can in this tutorial. So now that I set my under eye, I'm just gonna go in and set my face. So I'm gonna go in, I believe, with my Mineralized Skin Finish. So since this is a full coverage foundation, I don't want to go in with my Studio Fix powder because, honey, that would be a combo. Pro Longwear and Studio Fix powder, oh, I think that would be the fullest coverage that I've ever used in my life. So I'm gonna go with my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. This is more of like a sheer powder, but it does give some color. So I'm gonna apply that on top. So this is just gonna bring back some of the color and just add a sheer amount of coverage. Ready for bronzer. As I stated earlier, they discontinued the new bronzer already, honey. They snatched it off the shelves. I think they said that there was like a recall. They might be reformulating it, something. There was some type of smell, but can we just get that back? Because I was ready to go. I was really about to overnight it because it looked so bomb. And I was like, finally, we get a good bronzer, because they don't really have bronzers, I feel like, for deeper complexions. Remember, I have to go back into my MAC product Rolodex. But yeah, they aren't that deep. So I was really excited for that launch. So hopefully they relaunch it. So I'm just gonna go in with something that's discontinued. This is the Morphe Bronzer in Showmance. So I'm going to go in with this deep color right here, and that's gonna be my contour shade. Alrighty, so let me just get myself together and then I will be back for the blush, the lip, and some highlight. Alrighty, so we are back. So now let's go with some blush. So I picked up the MAC powder blush, and this is in Burnt Pepper. This blush is so pretty, and it is definitely in my favorite blush family. So let's put her on. Of course, you know the pigment is there. Just gonna tap that excess off and add her on. She's everything I thought she would be. I I live for these colors. Honestly, I feel like I'm gonna pick up an extra one of these because the way MAC is moving, I don't know if this is gonna be here next year. But I do feel like this is a permanent blush. They did get rid of some of the other blushes that they had, but I think burnt pepper is here to stay. But yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna pick up another one. I really like this. It looks so pretty. So let's go with a little highlight. This is MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. This is a highlighter in Gold Deposit. This is the old packaging. I've had this for forever. I'm just now hitting pan. I've had this for forever. So when you get one of these, they will last you a very long time. I honestly had this before I knew what to do with highlighter. I definitely missed out on some of the popular ones because I just didn't know what I was doing with highlighter at that time. You know, so I just held on to my Gold Deposit and she has not steered me wrong. So we are in this for life. For a lip, I'm trying to figure out what lip I want to do. Of course, we're going with Chestnut Liner, so let's just square that away first. Chestnut is definitely an OG color. If you don't have it, you need to get it. It is one of the best brown liners on the market. I'm just going to go in and start lining. So for lipstick, I think I might go in with Kinda Sexy. Yeah, I think I might go in with Kinda Sexy. This is a matte lipstick. I'm just gonna go back in and add some liner to blend that out. I think this is missing a gloss. So I'm just gonna go with MAC's Cream Sheen Gloss in Boy Bait, one of my favorite glosses. Let's add a little bit. Just went in with a hair more liner, and then now we just need to melt all of this together. So I'm gonna go with my Fix Plus spray. So beauties, this is the finished MAC Springtime Glam, honey. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all enjoyed my little story time about my MAC experience. So beauties, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. All the details will be listed and linked down below. And yes, beauties, let me know your MAC stories down below. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you all for the continued love and support, and I will catch you on my next one. Thanks for watching.